gathering essential intel for SHTF. Hey everybody, I'm Michael with Asymmetrical Preparedness. It's a very important topic. A lot of people overlook it, I think. I would take good intel about availability and location of resources than I would 100 fancy pew-pews. Definitely, intelligence is worth its weight in gold. Very, very important topic here, so I hope you guys pay attention. I hope you guys stay tuned to the entire video. Got lots of good nuggets here along the video. Some of them a little more outside the box, people may not think about. It's the way I think. Let's get into it. The availability of resources. What's around you? Pro tip, free apps for your cell phone, your tablet, called Gaia GPS. It's G-A-I-A. It is a mapping app for overlanding. People use it for venturing, for hunting, people use it for hiking, lots of different things. But if you have that on your device, whenever you're driving around your daily, normal, everyday life, and you see something that is identifiable, I'm gonna go over the list of what kind of things you should look at. But what you do is with that app, you place a pin and you label it. What is it? Collect all that information like that. Good way to do it now. But when you get home, transfer that data to a paper map. Just in case, EMP, whatever happens, devices fail, we know stuff like that happens. The next thing I'd like to cover is, I already sort of mentioned it, the location of assets. Do you see somebody with rainwater catchment systems, like I mentioned? Do you see chicken coops, gardens, farm animals, equipment? Is their property highly defensible? Do they have a lot of security features on their property? Location of assets is very important. Somebody like that may become a very valuable asset in an event, post an event, somebody you could maybe include in your tribe. Now that work, I would suggest, needs to be done now though. But having that intel there is still important because that may be somebody you can go to or rely on during an event, post-event, like I said. But the work should be done now. Identifying those people and then maybe swinging by, saying hi, introducing yourself, building that tribe, building that relationship. At least if you're saying hi, at least they know your face. So when you show up in the middle of an event, post an event, whatever, some world's ending kind of thing, then you're not some total stranger to them. Very good idea. Another really important thing for preppers and for intelligence to gather is the location of goods. What do I mean by that? Not necessarily food, not necessarily water. What I mean is the location of things like warehouses, Amazon warehouses, shipping companies, container lots, areas that they store goods in. And it may just be totally random goods. It may be kids' Barbie dolls, it may be BB guns, it may be whatever it is. Depending on the situation, it may be something that you are able to go locate and potentially get goods from. Obviously, I'm not advocating looting or anything like that. That's why we prep, so we don't have to do that kind of stuff. But I'm talking world-ending scenario, no rule of law, nothing, everything's falling apart, everything's looted, everything's taken care of. A lot of people don't think about warehouses. The first thing that most people will think of is hitting stores, you know, food stores, Walmart, Safeway, Albertsons, Kroger, places like that. Then they may think about just retail stores. Then they may think about medical facilities and pharmacies. We're going to get into that. But the location of warehouses, storage lots, etc., as well as maybe even storage units, those self-store units, identify all of them. I'm not saying all this intelligence is ever going to be used, but the more intelligence you have about the area around you, potentially the better off you'll be. Defensive/offensive assets. Pew-pew stores, ammunition, places that carry those kind of things. Now, I would say gun stores, obvious places like Walmart and other things like that, sporting goods stores, may be right off the bat. Those places that people go and, take everything from. But there's a lot of places that carry stuff like that may not be your run-of-the-mill, average, everybody knows about it type store. I know hardware stores carry ammunition, in my area at least. Your area may be different, but think outside the box. Also along that thought process is defensive items such as razor wire, barbed wire, fencing, boards, plywood, 2x4s, lumber, anything like that, posts that can help you establish better security. Now, in an event, like I said, when people are raiding or going to the grocery stores to buy up as much as they can, you could be hitting the Lowe's, Home Depot, Ace hardware stores, whatever's in your area to get that other stuff. Thinking ahead is very important as preppers. We're proactive, not reactive. I said that in a lot of videos because we stay ahead of the game. We already have the food preps, we already have the water, so that allows us to locate goods. We think further out, we think bigger picture. So that allows you to think along those lines, but also identify places like warehouses. Maybe you know of an ammunition manufacturer and their warehouse. Not saying go loot, of course, but maybe if that business is still there and viable, maybe things are falling apart and they want to try to get some goods, they'll barter with you for what they have, or they'll sell it to you still, even if the world is starting to crumble around them. Next item is tools. And I kind of already mentioned the Lowe's, the Home Depots, the hardware stores. Having preps allows us to think ahead, like I just said. Tools, chainsaws, axes, garden implements, shovels, all those kind of things you can find at hardware stores and or home improvement stores. Great way to approach it looking big picture. Gardening stores. And get into a little about that when I talk about food. But for now, hardware stores, anything like that. Tractor Supply, maybe. So look into those also. Gather intel on those sources also. Very important. The more intelligence you can have, the more information at your fingertips, the better off you'll be. Finally, I'm getting to food. Now food, we should already have that. That's the common sense thing about prepping, food and water. But identify other sources of food that's a little outside the box, not too far. Instead of the grocery stores, the Walmart, stuff like that, what about the distribution centers, the supply warehouses, the stockyards, wherever they keep their stuff en route to where it gets to in the retail market, the wholesalers, wholesale companies, and or processing yards, the companies that take it from farm or from ranch, process it before it gets to the wholesalers and then to the retailers. There's all these steps along the way. You got to think about those other steps up there, not the final step. The final step is where everybody's going to go. Think about the other steps. And like I said, if things are kind of falling apart, maybe those other steps that normally don't sell to the average person because they're not retail, maybe they would. Something worth identifying. Last thing I want to talk about is a very important topic, I believe, is identifying vulnerabilities. What do I mean by that? Weaknesses in your defenses, on your property, in your area. What kinds of things am I talking about? I'm talking about things like bridges. They're vital. Substations, vital. Routes in and out of your area. Roads. Also, bad areas of town. Higher population dense areas. All this intelligence is still good. It's not necessarily going to get you better prepared, but what it will get you is you will know areas to stay out of. Or identifying alternate routes to different locations where you don't have to go across those bridges and those other vulnerable areas that may be subject to, we don't know what caused this theoretical SHTF scenario. If it's a foreign invasion, an EMP, a massive earthquake takes out all the bridges, don't know. Like I said, it's hard kind of talking in theoretical situations. But the more information that you can gather, the more vulnerabilities that you can identify, the more sources of goods, food, water, assets, the better off you'll be. So get out there, start doing it. Like I mentioned, Gaia GPS. Get that app, start putting pins on anything that you think might be advantageous to know. Start gathering that intel now. You can't wait. This is something you need to be doing now. And then, like I said, to reiterate, when you get home, make sure you transfer the data from the electronic source to a hard source, a paper source, so that you have backups. And then probably make a copy of that source also, so you have redundancy in your intelligence network. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Remember, prepping is living insurance. Have a wonderful day, and blessings to you and yours.